Yo, what's the plan for the intro this week then?
Oh, crap.
You want to say it this time?
Welcome to King of the World Chat, where the topics don't matter and the points are just as valuable.
4 out of 5 dentists agree.
We're out there rolling around in the shit.
What does Joan of Arc have to do with this?
No way for me to get to the bathroom with the headset on. And
I would hear him punching the walls and hitting the fan every once in a while. I'd be like, oh, yep, you know, South Park has that.
So do you think we should start slapping a label like that on there?
We could make it happen. There you go. Ass, you can drink it now.
You can drink it.
Yes, this is the 3rd episode. Actually, there's a...
episode?
There's actually a lost episode already that no one knows about except for you and me. So...
Oh, yeah.
Technically, it's the 4th episode, but...
Maybe in the future something. Maybe archaeologists will discover the tapes.
Just to do the thing... You can find it on all the places where you find podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, blah, blah, blah.
We're on Apple now?
We're on all of them.
Oh, dang.
And you can watch it on YouTube if you want to see our stupid faces for some reason.
We've gone terminal.
And make sure to like it and give it 5 stars and all that, because that helps us, and we appreciate that.
The doctor has scanned and says they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
We'll tell the boys the war is going to have to wait.
Oh, I'm just going to run the top part so I have at least something to finick with, other than my fidget spinner, which will probably get used the most.
I know those were a big deal several years ago.
Yeah, I take this to the office with me.
Dude, I think that I used this, you know those cubes that Noel Mutex printed that have the gears, the black and blue one?
Yeah.
I use that in the same way. I just like keep it in my hand and spin it like around. For the purpose that fidget spinners were actually designed, that's like great for me. There was a psychiatrist I listened to one time who said that the reason that people that have ADHD and ADD like to fidget is because it's offloading essentially some of the
wants to be used.
Yeah, for a lack of a better term to put it. Yeah. That's a great way to put it, actually. Let me check the levels. Talk. Are we
still recording all this?
Yeah, we're good.
Why are we recording all this?
Just because that way, if we had something good at the beginning, we didn't miss it.
Something good at the beginning.
How was lunch?
Lunch was good. I went to the Hawaiian Bros.
And how was Hawaiian Bros?
It was good.
There's a burger place?
No. The way I'd put it, it's basically, okay, so you know how you get food from chopsticks? Like how it would come double on
like a Chipotle or like a,
I've never been to Chipotle.
Well, but at Freebirds or something where you go through the line and you pick what you want.
You don't go through a line here. These guys got it right, man. They got a touchpad. You just put it in your order, you pay, and you go sit down.
Have you ever been to one of those pizza places like that where they,
No, I have.
And they wood fire it, and it takes like, oh man, there's one called...
I've heard of one where you live. Was it?
Y'all got one too. There's a Mod Pizza in Waco.
There's a Mod Pizza in Waco now.
Try Mod Pizza, dude. It is very good.
See, this is the part where I talk about like where it makes editing hard. Because now we definitely have you have that part to skip because, you know, that's not really something you want on the podcast.
No, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like... Now it's going to be like this weird clip. Like it's going to be this weird jump. How are we going to explain the skip? Like,
we don't. We just cut it out. It's easy.
Cut it out. So we're just going to marvel.
It just is work for me.
Cause the skip. That's
just work for me. Yeah, exactly. We're going to snap it. It'll be
right.
It'll cost us everything, according to Thanos.
Thanos.
Is
that supposed to be a beard?
That Thanos has?
Yeah, the lower.
I think it's supposed to kind of look like it, but I don't think it actually is. I think it's just his face.
I would say, like, I wonder what happened. Like, must have been like, did he just cut himself shaving really badly?
Could be. He had an incident with a not a cheese grater, but you remember those old things like Granny M used to have, where it slices a boiled egg up into.
Oh, you mean in the equal slices?
Yeah. He got in an accident with one of those.
Yeah, I've got one in the kitchen, dude.
That was his original plan for the snap. That was the prototype, and it didn't work out very well. Well, let's see.
Let's see.
You still don't have air conditioning?
Nope. Still roughing it. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That's about all I'm gonna care to say about that situation without getting into a little heated, a little more
literally heated.
Yeah, I'm saying I might raise the temperature of my apartment.
I joked a while back that you were gonna get to the part of the year where you don't even need air conditioning anymore, but that might happen.
Like it's the window unit's doing fine. The window unit's doing great, and I thank Moses for letting me use that.
Well, that invalidates any of my complaints for the week still, so everything I would complain about is trivial.
I don't think it really invalidates because everybody's got their own man. Everybody's like, just because maybe it may not seem to scale the same. People problems are still problems and deserve their time.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other night.
Well, which specific situation are you talking about? Just
in that, no matter how big a personal problem is to that person, it still seems like everybody's problems seem like big problems to them.
Oh, yeah. Because I remember that the whole metaphor of the tree in front of you looks bigger because it's right in front of you, as where your neighbor tree seems a little smaller because it's further away.
Objects in mirror may be closer than they appear.
Yeah. Well, that's what if you're looking behind you.
And put your problems behind you. There you go.
Try to look behind you while looking forward.
Focus on science, Morty.
Exactly. Break the cycle.
I don't even think so. I could probably literally snip that one. And if anyone was going to tell us to stop doing that, it would probably be the Suits from Comedy Central or whoever the hell owns South Park now. I don't think Matt and Trey would give a shit at all.
No, dude, they're on Broadway.
Dude, have you seen any of their stuff on either Hulu or Paramount Plus? They've done a bunch of specials recently, in addition to a newest season, where they
I'm not aware of any of this.
You haven't seen any of them?
No, I wasn't aware of any of it.
Oh man, you need to watch them. They're pretty good. There's one or two on Hulu where it's the post-pandemic special and the pandemic special, and that one's pretty good. And then there's one called Water Wars, which is good.
I saw the Water War one with
the streaming wars.
Yeah. Why can't I get all my streams in one place? And how they're all just wasting water. Dude, I was
and they're joking about scamming everybody because they're hey, we're giving it to everybody and telling them that it's exclusive.
Dude, you know what's funny though? I think everybody missed the bigger picture of that episode was they're running out of water.
No, I think that was directly part of it because that's the situation we're in.
Thing about it.
Yeah, man, that's the situation of the planet.
The streaming wars is a great play of words.
It is. They're geniuses.
Do they really? Do they? I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm going to have to call them geniuses. I think they've earned that right. Yeah, no, definitely. They definitely have. And I'm going to be honest, they definitely got balls of steel.
They became ungroundable a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, dude. When you go to a major red carpet event in a dress tripping on acid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
those guys don't give a shit, dude.
I think Chevelle had the song called Hats Off to the Bull or something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the name of it was, but I remember the song. Yeah. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a decent.
It is. Yeah. Chevelle's got some good stuff, dude.
Dude, they have really good riffs. I love the sound of their guitars and stuff. And yeah, I'm a fan of Chevelle as well.
They knew how to be catchy and rememberable. That's the main part, rememberable.
And all the kids except for the hipsters that know what Chevelle are and tell everyone, well, music was better back in the day, even though they weren't born for it.
And that's a load of crap. Music's good always.
There you go. Well, that's what you learn eventually. You learn to appreciate things.
You gotta have your time to be dumb too, everybody.
Exactly. We all went through that.
Dude, where the hell is my TV remote? I want to at least see these specials.
Now just Google them. It's called the Pandemic Special.
I have a freaking television right there. Dude, I never remember where I placed my freaking remote. Yeah, fuck it. I ain't looking for it anymore.
Well, we can get into what we've got for this week. Before we do that, I finished some that paper that I was reading about.
Right. But before we continue, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
What we have for the week is usually just it's pretty random.
It's pretty loose. We were playing it.
Yeah. Like when you say like what we really have for the week is, well, that's pretty vague.
Just like any good adventure, you've got a plan, and then you immediately throw that plan out the window when you find a better one.
With that being said, now let's roll the dice. What you got?
Oh, this was just to clean up some stuff from last week. If you noticed watching the YouTube, or maybe you didn't, the last 17 minutes was cut off. If you want to hear the rest of that, you can check that out on the audio podcast format. It does have the last 17 minutes from episode 2, the extended universes of Bill Burr and Tolkien, which I should put a link for in one of these spots. I told you about that paper where the guy was trying
to humanize orcs.
Yeah, well, not exactly, but it was the title of the paper, since I never mentioned it, was "Let Us Now Praise Famous Orcs, Simple Humanity and Tolkien's Inhuman Creatures," 2010, by some guy from Texas State University, actually, named Robert Talley. Tally, okay. Not like a towel, like you're a towel, or Tally, the famous tank from World of Warcraft, or Taliesin, spelled differently from all of those.
Yeah. Maybe he's like trying to spell out like, hey, maybe this shows like some of the baser blocks of humanity.
When I read the rest of the paper, that is basically what he said. In fact, it was funny because it was so on the nose about some of the stuff we talked about that I think made it in that 17 minutes that went out. So you should definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah.
Or heard it.
I could definitely see that.
He says, like in the beginning of the last page, and it was an interesting read. It really was. I apologize. I'm trying to give you the actual words. Stall, Sargarrett.
What?
Stall for time. If we were live.
Let's see. What do you see? As you can see, Hype is clearly not prepared, and I wasn't really either. But so, anyways, continuing on.
You immediately throw me under the bus.
Oh yeah, do the first thing.
I didn't know where the stalling was going to go, but it's good to know that that's the plan in the future.
It's always the go-to. Like
it's a good plan.
You know, I'm just saying, like that's kind of the reason why you're always there. You know, it's like a life preserver. If something happens, I can push you in front of the thing.
I would be insulted if you didn't. Okay, there we go. He says,
"Gotta live," and I don't know why it's got to be you.
When he's wrapping it up, he says, one might protest that my argument is awfully selective, which I was like, hey, that's exactly what we said. We said, oh, this guy is taking a lot of liberties here. He's like, with whatever human qualities on display in the few passages are horrible creatures with utterly appalling characteristics and behavior. Yet that position is already well established. Basically, he's like, hey, that's pretty much how everyone's looked at it before. You see them as the bad guys. You see all of the heroes as the good guys. And he was just doing something that he thought was more interesting. And yeah, he does like posit, basically, like you said a minute ago, that if you reread it or you're thinking about it again, maybe consider that, you know, it's not that they're, when you reread The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, by all means, cheer on your good-natured Hobbit heroes. Respect the industrious and faithful dwarves. What?
What? Do all hobbits have to be good-natured? Like,
no, like Bilbo hated most of them in the Shire. But
he did good things. So I guess he's like more neutral. Like, I guess if he like could be bothered, he might make bad decisions. But so his laziness is why he's good.
You know, like, I think his bad decisions were just rooted in, like, the flaws that all of the characters...
Well, I think in the book, the point was the ring brings out the worst in everybody.
Exactly. And that's what he says. He's like, you know, but also in some small parts of your imagination, raise a glass to Shagrat and Gorbag, to Ugluk and Grishnak, to Bolg and Azog, and to some billion unnamed, but still as rational incarnate creatures who struggle to make a life worth living in this perilous realm. Perhaps in some divine plan only hinted at in their own metaphysics, it is the orcs who will inherit Middle-earth. That was his closing. So yeah, like you said, he was just trying to make it more interesting. He also pointed out that the guy, he referenced another paper from 1982 that I mentioned that was an academic analysis of Tolkien's work. like you said, where he said, if Tolkien were to have changed the origin of orcs like he was considering doing, it would have to rework the entirety of the rest of the mythos to be consistent. And I think you pointed that out last week when you said,
last time on
King of the World chat. Kind of proves my point that, yeah, dude, if they didn't put it out, like...
he died before he could turn in the retcon, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, it died before he could put the book out. None of it counts.
If that's true, then you kind of have to, like, throw it all out.
Yeah, dude, because you're talking about fundamental building blocks.
Yeah.
That's kind of why, like, in the comic books, every time when they make, like, these major changes, it changes, like, the absolute fundamental structure of that story. And then when you do something as complicated, like, add it into something like the Justice League or the Avengers, where you're making these things play together, well, they play together that way, and you knew that way worked. But when you have these newer sets, they don't always mesh right and play well together. Now, Marvel's definitely done a better job on it on the silver screen than DC definitely has.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue with that.
And I'm gonna be honest, I really can't say with all the continuity resets that just been going on for the past couple of years with DC. I left that not knowing where everything ended up. So like, I know like Wonder Woman talked to a god and was like, we see like the original Golden Age of comics, which is like, yeah, that's cool, nice throwback, bro. But sorry, I went on a tangent there.
No, you're good. I think one of the main differences is that on the silver screen, like you said, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they had a person that was in charge of making sure that it mostly all worked together and that there was a plan at large. You look at Star Wars, the last trilogy, and where there was literally no plan, and that's how you get to...
No, it shows. I mean, like, literally, the first movie was just A New Hope. Like, a bad version of A New Hope.
Well, arguably, there was no way to do that well if that's what you were going to do. It's like, well, first of all, you probably shouldn't do that. Like,
okay, so if you want to, like, I'm going to make an argument and say, if you could still do that, it just needs to follow certain bullet points. Like, you need to put some people together that would not normally go together. In the case of A New Hope, it was...
Well, they tried to do that.
The last Jedi and his apprentice, a scoundrel and a bad one. He shot Greedo under the table. I don't care if you redo the movie. That's the way it is. Like, you said it first.
Hey, that's just somebody worried about their own survival.
Yeah. And that's just the way, like, and I don't think that makes that person evil, like, at all. Like, early bird gets the worm or gets to still breathe at the end of the day.
It's exactly like that, it's like in the what is it? God damn it! Not the Temple of Doom, or maybe it is the Temple of Doom. The Indiana Jones, when the guy busts out the sword and does all the like fancy, and then
Harrison Ford can go take a piss.
Yeah, that was what it was about. The actual actor, like you said, he just needed to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, I have this gun. So you need that set up first. You need some
fantastic.
Oh yeah, and you need a princess of some kind. Like, or at least some royalty. You can always gender swap these things, like, you know, prince or non-specified if that's the direction you're going to go. So whatever, have that set up as a people. Then the thing you need to happen is you need to basically introduce a big bad that has a really big bad dude who does some really bad stuff, and they're going to do some really bad stuff with a really big thing. That's it. You don't need to copy exactly the Death Star or like...
Yeah. There's a bigger Death Star.
Exactly. It could have been as simple as just delaying a really big fleet of Star Destroyers for like a couple parsecs. You know, something like that. Just giving a frame of time for there to be a sufficient resistance there to meet them head on. And win what would be considered a valiant defense, or no, not a valiant defense, because that would be when you lost. That would be a heroic defense victory.
Yeah, they did the same thing that
Yeah.
World of Warcraft writers have done recently, where they just keep introducing. It's like, well, here's the real. It's a bigger bad, and it's literally just a larger star. I mean,
it's like, okay,
a bigger fucking
we're
Death
going
Star.
the Dragon Ball Z route.
Yeah,
Like, you're just
it's
gonna,
power creep.
Yeah. I mean, like, take for instance that last scene with Sidious with ultimate power and like lightning flying up and destroying ships in space. It's
You
like,
know what?
What?
This actually all plays into something that I had written down that was not originally what I wanted to talk about, but it goes perfectly with it fits in that same last conversation too from last episode. Like, do you think that, like, we talked about it last time, and it's like, oh, well, this is the person that's in charge of doing the story, or the people when it's more than one person, and then at some point it also becomes like the fans, and they feel like they take ownership, which is a good thing.
Right,
like, I feel.
Once again, those are special circumstances that it needs to meet. But
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think, like, if you set out to make something, that should almost, like, not be your goal, but that's how you know it's done really well.
If you care about it, it should be your goal to produce the best story that you possibly can. And I'm not saying, dude, like, if you've done the story right, the fans will create themselves and let them, and they will settle in how they want to.
Exactly.
And all you need to do is just kind of stay true to your principles and the story that you wanted to do. As long as you stay along that guiding line, like, I think you'll be fine.
That's almost exactly what I wrote on that subject in my notes about that, where it's like, hey, don't
be just a fan service. Don't just start throwing out whatever they asked for. Like,
right. You should it should come from somewhere. Like, that spark for that story came from something that you wanted to make. And that should be where that stuff comes from. That place of, like, hey, I love this world that I thought of or imagined, and I wanted to share that. Like, it should be not your goal, but, like, you've done well when fans want to be immersed in it so much that they make Wikipedias and, like, they write down everything and they're, like, obsessed with it, right? Like, that's hey, you did something good. I wouldn't
say obsessed, but they
but that's what they do.
Dedicate time. Yeah, okay. So yeah, but
they want more of it, is what I mean.
Yeah. They're willing to spend some of their time kind of really, in a way, living in that universe.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because let's be honest, we all need an escape from reality.
That's like a good check that you've done something special, but that shouldn't be your goal, or that shouldn't be the thing.
No. It should never. Your goal should never to be get somebody to check out of reality. Like,
because that can make you make it good or bad, right? If you're just worried about, oh, are they going to like it? Like, you'll make bad decisions.
Yeah, you will.
So with that in mind, I wanted to say, like nerds, I don't want to say nerds, but that's what we all are. It's like, that's not a, a derogatory term. It just, like I said, those are just the fans that really want to, like you said, live in that world and that mythos.
I would call it the fantasy viewer base.
There you go. And they, like, drive, that's how you get, like, more sequels and spin-offs and extended universes, right? When there's people that are like, we want more of this. You never get the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian if people didn't love Star Wars.
Right. And I feel like Star Wars is one of those, like, it gets, like, the fans feel like they have a really big say in that. And
it's like 50 years old.
Well, yeah. But at the same time, dude, it's like, it's still somebody's story. As of where we got things like Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer and 40K, where they're literally, it's like, it's set up for, hey,
it's a sandbox
story. Yeah, you make this. That's the place where I feel like fans really have a say, because it's like, look,
absolutely,
you've given me the option to create a universe, like, to create my own set within the parameters you set. Like, and there's some things that I would like to be able to do that I just can't currently do with the current set.
Well, that's when you make your own.
Exactly. But like, the company owns Warhammer, dude, you got to be very careful.
You can't make your own Warhammer.
Don't you do that. Don't you 3D print those. No. Not saying you can't.
I didn't even realize it, but Steve Jackson, the guy that made Munchkin, Steve Jackson Games, he's also one of the founders, I think. And if I'm wrong, you can just tell me in the comments or whatever.
What
he's also one of the guys that founded Games Workshop, the ones that make Warhammer.
Oh, well. I'm going to be honest, Munchkin makes way more sense now.
Yeah, well, why it's been like made the way it is. And it's fucking expensive, like all games.
Dude,
like,
not that it's expensive.
It is, though.
But the way it's played is like kind of how that business runs, you know? Like, hey.
Oh, sure. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like.
It's a great game for lawyers to practice. That's
really,
what I've always
if you're
said.
in law school, play Munchkin with your friends.
If I was a teacher in law school, I would do that. Yeah. No, it's worse than Mario Kart.
Dang, you remember Farnsworth.
I was about to say, are you about to talk about what he did with...
Yeah, burning.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
our late brother got so angry one time that he took his own game that he spent $40 on.
Yeah.
We were playing outside at our friend's house and we had a fire going because it was... And he threw it in the fire. The whole box and everything. He had some really dramatic moments.
Oh, yeah. Gotta give it to him, though, dude. When he made a decision to do something, he went through with it.
You know what, man? Like, and maybe this is the catch. I was going to say, like, you were the middle brother. So, like, people give you a hard time and be like, oh, the middle one is always dramatic.
Oh, dude, I was in the middle of all the kids.
No, you're smack in the middle of the five. So you're the most middle.
Yeah, like, dude, like...
I was about to say, like, in some ways, Austin was a lot more dramatic when he was dramatic sometimes. And technically, he was a middle as well, although not as middle as you. The most middle, Sargarrett.
Stuck in the middle.
So, I really liked what you said a second ago on that about how, like, there's, like, a flip side to the fact that people want to live in this universe and make stuff. Like... This is what I wanted to ask you. And this is just a question. Like a lot of times I like to ask Sarga, it's caused us to have a lot of fights because I like to think about things a lot like that guy who wrote the Lord of the Rings paper, where it's like, hey, I like to think of it in a more interesting way or try to think of a more interesting way. My brother and I have gotten into a lot of heated discussions. Like you said last time, a lot of very loud discussions.
Loud talking.
Loud talking. There you go. Is it bad sometimes? Like I put it in the notes, are nerds ruining everything? Because like by and large, I think we're all, you and I are about, it's like men of the people. And it's like, yeah, the people will keep you honest. It's like, if you try to do something that is, if you're like all of a sudden decided, okay, well now, Batman wants to kill people. No, is what the Batman fans should tell you. Like, or you need to be very careful there. Like,
yeah, there's going to be an entire big group of people be like, you can do whatever you want. It's like, yeah, but if you change certain fundamentals at a certain point, it's not what you started with.
My point at large is that the fans will keep you honest sometimes.
And at that point, just make whatever story you really wanted to make.
Like you said last time, make it an Elseworld. Yeah. But the question for this time that I was going to say, and this again was an aside, I wrote this down later on.
Slap Elsewhere on it, then there you go. All problem solved.
But everything we were talking about so far led into this. Is like, is a rabid fan base, which you can't help. I mean, like if you made a rabid fan base, then that means you made people really liked what you made. Like, does that make...
I just thought of something.
Are they impossible? Yeah.
Does DC own, like, is that a copyrighted, like, Elsewhere?
The term?
Well, like, I guess not like the term. I'm like, we're using it as a term, but like, what if people start actually slapping Elsewhere on the side of like their art and whatnot?
Well, they would still have to license it to be able to actually use the names from whatever it is that they're doing. Like, you can't just, you'd have to make one of those like knockoffs. You'd have to make the GoBots version. Actually not get sued, which I think is great. Like when you're talking about Warhammer and all that, I was like, dude, we should just do like, we should get as close, and not because we would get sued and we can't afford that, but like It'd be like, you should try to skirt the line as much as you can, like make a GoBots version of Warhammer, and then like always,
dude, you go until you get sued.
you push that line as much as you can.
You just keep going and going.
Except there's no rules to when they can or can't sue you, so, and they've got more money than you do.
Oh man.
Than we do, I should say. But so my question is,
so maybe then I should do like a knockoff version of InfoWars until I see Alex Jones to try to.
Yeah, he's got a lot of money too. Like that dude is loaded.
Like, it's a parody.
What would you call it?
That's what it is. Let's see.
Not InfoWars, but
Data Battle.
Okay, here's what you do. You get a woman instead of Alex Jones. You get a woman that parodies him very well and call it Miss Info Wars. So it's like a play on misinformation.
That's good. That's good. Gotta find someone that's.
Get somebody like as much as you might not like her. What is her name? No, well, Rosie O'Donnell would have been good for that.
She's awful though. Like her's a person.
Well, I just mean she would have done that well, I think, if she tried. What is her name? The comedian. She's very divisive, and that's why I'm like, I don't know if you like her or not. I'm not a huge fan of her stand-up, but I can appreciate her for what she is. God damn. I can't remember her name all of a sudden. She's got that one. She was on Comedy Central. She has that one comedy special called The Leather Special.
Narrowed down here. So far.
Amy Schumer.
Oh.
She would probably do well with that. Love her or hate her. Or like Tina Fey would also be great at that.
Tina Fey would be good.
Tina Fey is a genius. Well, maybe not. Well, I'm throwing the word genius around too much, but I really, she does a good job.
You know who I'd want to have do it?
Who?
Wanda Sykes.
Oh, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. That would actually be the best answer.
Yeah. If I could choose anybody, it'd be Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes, dude, that would do so well. Hey, Wanda Sykes, if you end up taking that and do Miss Info Wars, you can have that one. Nobody else, but
just throw us on the tag.
Yeah, you just shout out to King of the World chat, Hypemoore and Sargarrett and Hypemoore. So
that's only for Wanda Sykes.
Exactly. The rest of you,
Wanda Sykes, you know who we're talking about.
Everybody knows Wanda Sykes, dude.
Yeah, but you never know somebody else who might name you Wanda. It's like, my name's Wanda Sykes. No, we ain't talking about you. You're not celebrity Wanda Sykes. Like, we talking common knowledge Wanda Sykes. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I was just looking at my notes from this. I think we basically covered the question that I was trying to answer. It's like, I don't think that people, nerds, fanboys, fans, whatever you want to call them, the ones that are like obsessive with something, like I don't.
We want to talk about the diehards?
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, those would be the ones. Like those are the ones that are like, hey, you can't do that.
Like, are like borderline degenerates, though.
Is that ever bad? Like, when is that bad to be?
When is
like
it bad when you start making the community toxic?
Well, not just that, like, because I feel like that changes it. I'm talking about in the just in the context of making more stuff in that universe. Does that limit it? If that's not like bringing any thoughts to mind, the first thing I thought about when I asked myself that was referencing Rick and Morty and how they were talking about like it's hard to like outthink. It's impossible actually to outthink the collective of the internet when they're trying to theorize about whatever it is, like the evil Morty thing, for example.
The best way to outthink the internet is to not have a plan.
There you go. That's a good way to do it. You just run in and get thrashed.
Yeah, just there you go. It is the best.
I've always been a big fan of that. That's one of my philosophies in life.
Because when you leave the internet to speculate, it starts infighting with itself.
If you've never seen Hyperman, you missed out. That game was amazing. Yeah, and I also think that that's probably why, when you consider money and the people who fund different things like this, I think that's why we see so many remasters, remakes, and rehashing of stories instead of making new things, because it's easier. It's a safer bet to make a 10th Fast and the Furious than it is to try and like fund a new story that people might not like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I think we said last week that in the context of the M. Night Shyamalan thing, it's like when you have less resources, you're forced to be more creative and to work harder with what you've got.
Yeah, because if you don't have as a big a budget, you really need to be more engaging with the plot. You got to find some way to hold the reader there. And if it's not amazing graphics and
big budget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not a big budget. I mean, like when I'm talking about like with CGI or well-made puppets or
A production value.
Yeah, when the production value is really on the smaller end, you have to really do more to make the things you do have seem like more. You know, like you got to stretch it more. It's like if you got a little bit of mayonnaise at the bottom, you really got to spread it over the bread.
Exactly. Like, you know what I wish we could do? And I don't know how we would do it, but I would really like to do it in some capacity. And maybe you and I just get on Discord and watch that. But in any case, I just mean like we could do like a way that people could engage in that with us. I would like to sit down with you and watch, since you still haven't done it, I know, watch the Batman and like where we could basically do commentary on it or something, like as you've seen it for the first time, because I know you still haven't seen it, right?
Yeah, no.
I really thought it was pretty good, and I really wanted to see what you thought of it, because I think it did a lot of things like better than I've ever seen done on the screen in as far as live action Batman stuff goes. It wasn't perfect, but it was, I really enjoyed it the one time I watched it. It's very long, but I wanted to see, you said you had some stuff that you wanted to talk about, or?
And I think I want to hold off one more week with
That's
it.
fine.
Because it's really more pertaining to the whole RTS thing. Like I said, that kind of really struck a chord with me. I was like, and I feel like it's something that just really needs addressing this day and age, because
I think that's good.
Because I feel like there's an entire generation that's really missing out on a brand of game that they just probably don't even recognize exists, because
they would see it and think it was a MOBA.
Yeah. And
even
I mean,
though
like,
that's where that came from.
I know. It would be like, and I don't really care if they think one way or the other which one came first.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it doesn't. The main thing would be just the fact that they know that it exists at all. Like,
well, and it struck a chord with us for a reason. Yeah,
like they get like a lot of crappy mobile games that like really are a lot of just lobotomized versions of these games.
Yeah, it's just it's a vehicle to sell you microtransactions.
Exactly. And
exploit.
They should be allowed to pay a one-time, well, I'm saying this while playing Total War with, I don't know, with all the DLC packs.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different. Because it's not that's not games as a service. Yeah, and that's Games Workshop again. So it's like...
Dude, do you want to add up all the amount of money that I have in the Total War right now?
Oh, God. Dude, it's probably nothing compared to what some people have in Warhammer.
I know it's nothing, because there's people who own like the older stuff that I don't like, because I've only got the fantasy side of it, which... Yeah, I know. I'm the problem. Whatever.
Dude,
fuck.
I love Matt.
I'm not interested in your Jean of Arc or Jacques Cousteau. All right?
What does Joan of Arc have to do with this?
It's the old, like the history books. Oh, this is what it all came from. Like, dude, it's like,
that stuff's cool sometimes.
Dude, I get it, but it's like, I understand that Total War really did take a long time period where they were just concentrating on like Total War Warhammer, and I didn't complain because I was on the receiving end of that.
Oh, you're saying they were complaining because it was taking away from the history.
But dude, it was making bankroll. Like,
oh hell yeah! Well, it's honestly more interesting because of all the universe.
Like, don't get me wrong, the other ones are probably fun. I actually plan on playing the Troy because I see that one mentioned so much, and I honestly the one I see the best reviews for too.
I just couldn't get into them all that much, but I love RTSs, and I've been playing Warcraft 3 Reforged recently.
I just didn't discover the Total War series until I was older.
Dude, the thing is, like, our generation didn't love RTSs as much as they did for no reason. That wasn't like unique to us. And if people would give them a chance, like, and they still exist. Like I said, I've been playing Warcraft 3 Reforged again. You got me wanting to play that, so I've been playing through the campaign again, and it's definitely made me think about a lot of stuff in that realm. So the other day I was on Reddit, which I don't recommend, but if you if you are, no, I'm just kidding. You can, Reddit is what you make of it, just like everything else in life. But I saw this argument that these people were having, because that's what you do on Reddit. And it got me thinking about stuff, because I think about related to the fact that we're talking about RTSs and games today versus back in our day. Back in my day, us old men yelling at clouds and at the Zoomers to get off our lawn. I saw, like, a lot of times you just get upset because you're like, is this just the way things are nowadays? But this, I think, is a little bit constructive, at least. So here's what I have written in the notes about it. This game isn't for casuals, okay? So this is like, as a quote, like, that's what, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
that's a pretty big.
I honestly, that's a very,
I'm not go with that one.
No, that's what I'm saying. I cringe internally when I see that sometimes, because I'm like,
because you know the mindset of the person that made it.
It's those, like you said, it's the degenerates from the first episode that are shitting in jars and with the poop socks, the poop sockers. You know, like, you haven't played it, but I've told you about Escape from Tarkov. You're familiar with how it works. So, like, in the leveling and the questing, the progression of that game, it's something that is it ends up being very grindy, and it takes a lot of time to do, and you can put a lot of time into it and not be successful at all. Also, in Escape from Tarkov, it's a very gear-dependent game in the PvP. Someone told me in a comment that it was like, well, it's kind of like a first-person shooter MMO. And that was my whole problem that got me thinking about it, because I'm like, well, the gear is what ends up being a huge difference maker. And in shooters, it's more often about skill than an MMO. Not obviously, MMOs take skill. If you know about, like, PvP at all, even if you don't play at the top level, right? Like, you could tell the difference between somebody. When you told me, you're like, dude, I 1v2'd these guys because you were playing arena and your partner had, like, disconnected at the very beginning or something. It's like, hey, you can't do that if skill wasn't a thing. And your gear plays a part in that as well. But like,
I remember that, dude.
In shooters, like, I feel like it's even more so like that. Like, your skill should be largely what determines the winner and the loser in a shooter, in a first-person shooter, right? Like, and less about the gear. But in Tarkov, the gear is super important. Like, the ammo specifically and the armor, like, you can literally shoot 30 rounds into someone, and if their armor is a higher level, for lack of a better way of explaining it, because it'd take too long, then the penetration of the bullets that you're using, you might as well be missing. And that gear a lot of times is locked behind a high rep gain where there's no way to get to it.
Yeah, so there's always a wall between you and the gear. Yeah,
exactly. And no lifers who play the game all the time are always going to be at an advantage.
Yeah, so they want the gear that way they can kill you the easiest without putting effort into it.
This person had essentially said Escape from Tarkov suffers as an experience because of the way that the gearing being locked behind, like, those high reputation is what I mean. You have to grind it out to be able to even buy that stuff. Like, to me, it's like, well, if you like playing that game and you want to have competitive PvP, then it would be a better decision to make more competitive gear more accessible to everyone, because personally, I don't gain any satisfaction from destroying a lobby or someone that didn't have any chance against me because of the gear difference. I don't know, that's not everybody. There's a lot of people out there that
I'm saying, and clearly it's not.
Like the caveat
that way.
What?
Farnsworth is that way.
Oh yeah. Well, but he also enjoyed he didn't give a shit. He would kill you regardless.
He was dead. That was just it. I would do questing with him sometimes. We would spend an extra hour and a half out in the world.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. The difference between him and some of those people was, like,
they'll give up and go away.
We're talking about Farnsworth. He's one of the characters that our brother that we mentioned at the beginning of the show.
One of the aliases he's used. We will use different aliases and if you know them and catch on to it, hats off to you. So just enjoy that little Easter egg.
It was, yeah. The difference between him and some of these people that just love going to lobby areas and ganking scrubs is, even though he would do that and he would kill you, like you said, regardless, like red is dead, meaning if you're...
I have a hat for hats off, by the way.
What?
I actually have a hat for hats off, by the way.
A hat for hats off?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean?
Like when I have a, give someone a hats off.
You have a hat to put on just to take it off?
I've had that, but it's my regular hat that I wear every day.
You wear it every day?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's been a whole minute, dude. You haven't been down in a whole minute.
I have a lot of hats. I mean, and since I started streaming and doing YouTube stuff, I have a lot of hats.
Mom calls it a Stevie Ray Vaughan hat.
Is it like... Okay, here we go. Are you sure you want to do this?
I don't care, dude. I wear it out in public like normal.
I have a hat with the yellow flag on the top of it. It's the detective hat.
The yellow flag. He wears with the yellow flag.
Yeah, it's from Ninja Cat made them for us for. Yeah, that is a Stevie Ray Vaughan hat.
Yeah. See, we got the side here to have some tie-on charms or some shit like that.
I sometimes put on one of Granddad's black cowboy hats, and a long time ago I had one of my ties. I was wearing a lot of ties on my head for a while as a like a ninja thing, and I would put that on the cowboy hat, and it made me think of Stevie Ray Vaughan as well, even though that is definitely more a Stevie Ray Vaughan hat.
And I dress like a solar panel in Texas summers, so...
He wears a lot of black, is what he means.
Generally all of it.
I did that. I used to do that. I still got a decent amount of...
Dude, every color wants to be the new black. That's all I'm saying.
Earlier,
we got a little bit off
no, that's fine. That's the point. Like,
we're getting...
It's like, the thing about this, when you're talking about something like Escape from Tarkov, or something where it's a really high skill cap, it's like, you can put a lot of time in, and player skill aren't going to increase at the same rate. Like, you could waste a lot of time playing that game, and if you're not learning correctly, for lack of a better way to say it, you're not going to get any better, right? Yeah. And you could do that with a lot of games. It's like, you take like New World, for example, back when because it was redesigned like 12 times before it actually came out. And at one point there was level scaling for the PvP. And then they realized, oh, this feels bad because the people that have grinded and put in work to get better gear want that to translate to like player power, which I think is fine in the context of like your gear making you better. Yeah. But in PvP, I'm honestly like, hey, I never played Lost Ark, but I heard people say, oh yeah, when you play Lost Ark PvP, like it equalizes everything. I'm like, hey, that's how you test player skill. And to me, that's what player versus player is about.
Yeah, that's why I like. That's why I really like the arena. The arena, no outside, is just what your abilities are, and
you don't have to farm for a million like runes and potions and oils and all the... Yes, I agree that arena leveling the playing field a little bit is good for PvP. I think that's the best kind of experience that you want if you're... And I think if a game is well designed, then like your practice and the time that you put in, the time should equate, not just time itself, not like, oh, you played for X amount of time, so you're automatically win.
Power because you're logged in.
Yeah, that's shit. Like,
that's dog shit.
An example.
You hit the keyboard, by the way. None of that AFKing crap.
Well, and Blizzard. It's funny you mentioned that because Blizzard's actually.
Is it funny I mentioned that?
Yeah, because Blizzard's like trying. They're telling people they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna do it because they're saying that it's gonna be not automated and that someone's gonna review it. But I'm like, I don't know that any person actually reviews anything when it's reported in WoW. But yeah, they're like, hey, AFKing and BGs and stuff ruins the experience for people.
It really does, dude. But I'm gonna be honest, like it's like if there's a couple players in there that you can work with, like, and usually me and you pick up one when we're BGing. Like we pick up one or two that just tail with us. And dude, oh man,
I wish there was an RBG queue, like so that you could queue into RBGs. But like a lot of people have said that before.
Oh, you mean like a queue system where you could be like, hey,
yeah.
Just do people, yeah. But I say, dude, and you're playing with randos. Like that's how you get all the.
Yeah, and that like creates a lot of the problems that we've seen in WoW over the years, and that leads to a less like, a less world feeling style of play. It's more, but at the same time, it's like, it's so hard to get into. It's like everything else. Like, it's like Mythic Plus. It's like raiding. It's like, it turns the game into a job almost at times. Like, but
it's fun though. It's fun content. Like,
it can be. Rated BGs can either be great or terrible.
Yeah,
depending on whether you win or lose.
Let's talk about like when you got a good setup. When you got a good setup.
Exactly.
Like,
So we agree that like, hey, just playing more time shouldn't, at least for us, like shouldn't equal. Right. And I mean, like imagine if there was a game where that is how it worked, and it was like the PvP was just like two people walking up to each other, and then the game checking whose gear score was higher, who'd played the game more, or who had spent more money, more like it in today's environment. And then it just decided a winner, like where there was no skill at all, literally no component. That would be terrible. No one would like that, except people probably would like that because I think that's how it works in Diablo Immortal, which I never touched.
Yeah, me neither. It's not one I'm planning on touching at all.
Well, that made me think about this, because this is something that I never thought I would say, because this feels bad, I think, across the board. But when you consider this and what we're talking about with like, those high rep walls and those things that you have to do, grind out in order to be competitive in a player versus player PvP environment. So like, consider something like WoW PvP, which in its original state, not its original states, but in a more normal setting. In season 4, which is at the end of an expansion, and they're like, it's a free for all, even though it feels better. Like, there's no conquest cap. Like, I want to go into all of it, but there's like, that's what you grind out to get the gear you need for player versus player in WoW. And it used to be normally that like you can only gain so much of that per week. And like, that sounds good at first, because you can't no life World of Warcraft PvP and then just be better because you've got higher gear, because you can only get so much of it per week. But the problem is, if you miss a week, now you're behind. And if you miss enough weeks, you literally cannot catch up. So time gating sucks, but it is, and they fixed that by letting you, like, if you missed a certain week, then you could gain up to whatever the cap was. You could basically catch up if you grinded enough, but you still couldn't get past where everybody else was. So it's like, time gating is actually good in stopping no-lifers if your game is designed to where the gear makes that much of a difference. So you see what I'm saying? Is time gating good there?
No.
So people should be able to no-life it and grind out as much as they want.
Exactly. I'm sorry, but it's just a valid thing that should be like.
Why do you say that? Because time gating sucks?
Ever. Well, yeah, but like, why would you ever limit how much your player can play?
Because, well, I think that's a good question, because it's a different thing to consider this from the perspective of the player wanting the best game, and from the developer who has to worry about things like daily active users and play times and metrics like that. Like, I think the reason they don't want that is because people will grind the shit out of it. They'll get as much as they can in a week, and then they'll stop playing. Which is why I think we see battle passes be such a big thing nowadays. It's because it's like, in the world environment, in the gaming environment, it's all about, even if it's free to play, especially if it's free to play, like, they want you there all day, every day, or as much as they can get you there daily, which sucks. Like, 'cause like you said, it's like when we played a Halo Infinite a long time ago, which we're not live, but F in the chat for Halo Infinite. And those of us who wanted something better and thought it would be good this time, it feels really shitty when you completed all of your chores for the week and then you get no progress. That's like the only way, one of the only ways that I could think of immediately where you could stop no-lifers from ruining the game for everybody else that can't play it like that.
Dude, okay, so here's the deal. If it comes to a situation where you can't play the game because of, like, you've got prior obligations elsewhere, I think your attention needs to be elsewhere and not in a game that dedicates this amount of time.
Okay. See, this is, I think, what some of those people were saying. They're basically like, hey, this game isn't for you. And not every game has to be for everybody.
It's not like you don't belong here. It's like, look, where you're currently at in your stage in life, you're just really needed to be in other places. This game is more for people who just kind of have the time for it. Like,
Sure.
and I don't think that's wrong to be made that way. Because, and I feel like that's what a lot of us really actually want. Because when what we all really want is to put, I put something in, I want to feel like the return is either equal or greater.
Well, and that's why I said it the way I did, is like, if it's a PvP or specifically in a competitive setting, something that's like, I can agree with what you're saying more from the perspective of PvE or single player, but when it's supposed to be competitive, it's like the people that can just sit there and play all day are inherently going to have the advantage. And that, like, depending on how the game is designed, you might not have a shot. Even if you do have time to put a decent amount of time into the game, but you're against somebody that literally spends 10 hours a day playing that game all day, every day, and no lifing it. Like, they shouldn't dominate the game or own because they have nothing else to do, or that's all they play. Or should it be that way? It's just a hardcore experience.
Yeah, I'm saying I think that's fine. What the hell?
If the game is designed as such that the skill and your time into it equals more skill as opposed to better gear, I think that's a better situation for a competitive player versus player environment. But
hey, bro, I don't mean to interrupt you, but your keyboard, which is it?
I don't remember. It's Austin's keyboard. It's Farnsworth's keyboard.
Bro, I've been kind of like perusing the Razer store as we've been going through here.
You really want that plushie.
I do want that plushie.
You're giving free advertising to Razer.
Well, dude, my keyboard is literally, I looked down and I was like, there's this green line snaking across my keyboard. And I was like, what the hell? And then the Razer snake eyes pop up and blink at me. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
oh, because you're on their website?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you noticed when you played like Halo, the keyboard would change?
Yeah, I noticed that. But like, I didn't
Overwatch does the same thing.
It's just crazy that it started popping up. It's like, okay, now that's...
So you're saying if you go to the Razer website, it will interact with your keyboard?
Yeah.
God damn it, I'm not doing this. Razer, no. Hey, we're going to tell people to go to the
website. I don't give a shit. I'll just keep doing it.
You just naturally, do you see what he did there, Razer, just now? This is why you need to sponsor us. He just made you want to go to their website. That you can't, hey, that's what you pay for.
That's only for people part of the Razer cult, because only those people would have a Razer keyboard.
Yeah, but even people that, I'm not, like, I have Razer products because I got them from my brother and they have sentimental value. I'm using a shitty mouse that doesn't stay clicked all the time.
Ye of little faith.
No, Razer, this is someone who is good. Can you see the potential here? This man will make your sales go up.
I mean,
give him his plushie.
If you're not
sponsor the show,
you just really don't care.
What?
If you don't use Razer, you really just don't care.
Okay, I can't endorse that statement. I can't endorse that statement.
I'll endorse that statement all day.
There is RGB in their chair cushions for real.
Yeah, dude, that thing looks awesome. Like, dude, I mean,
oh my god,
that would be great for my tailbone.
This is too much. Do they have a deal with Deadmau5?
I don't know, but they're trying to save trees, and they're like, every time you buy one of their products, it saves a bunch of trees. So
every smart company has an initiative like that nowadays. Yeah, but I saw it. Yeah, they have a deal with Deadmau5. Holy shit.
Headphones with cat ears on them.
You mean you can buy a Deadmau5 from Razer?
Yeah.
And you put dead out of the box. It's right there on the name. Deadmau5.
Yep.
Excuse me, Razer, I'd like to return this. It's a dead mouse.
Yes, that's what you bought.
No, it doesn't work. It's a dead mouse.
That's what it is.
It says it on the...
Correct. You bought a dead mouse. I don't know how
the chair is $1,000.
Dude, you're looking at the furniture. It's furniture. Like, when you're talking about furniture,
Well, you got me to go to the store and spend more time than I wanted to there, and that's the kind of thing that you just can't pay for, Razor.
And then I went and I clicked on the
Razor. I need you to understand how good the advertising was from my brother just now. So support the show. Thank you. That's all.
He really doesn't want to spend time on this, but I really don't care. Like,
I don't give a shit. I'm not here to do anything in particular. The topics are made up and the points don't matter. This is what it's all about.
Back to the
no. Taking that out of the context of PvP, like, because it is a thing that exists in some way in PvE or player versus environment, single player experiences. Like, you take something like, if anybody remembers, I know you do, but if anybody ever played the original Dragon Age or Mass Effect, like when you had both of those games, or were they a pre-order bonus, like you get armor that was you get a code for some armor that was usable in both games, and it was really good.
It was cool. It was really cool stuff.
And I don't remember if you had to do something in the game to unlock it, but sometimes games will give you this stuff like from the get-go. Like, I know Fallout New Vegas had some stuff that you could get that you could choose at the beginning of a playthrough whether or not to use it. That stuff could feel like a cheat code, but it's a single player experience. So it's like, hey, you do what you want to do. We grew up in the days with the cheat codes, and sometimes that's the most fun way to play the game. And if you don't want to use it, no problem. Or you could say mod. That's part of the problem I have with mods. My brother loves to mod. He has spent, I don't know how many hours playing, and it's awesome, to be fair.
Oh my God, dude.
It's amazing. Like, I've never been a massive fan of Skyrim, but when I put on my brother's VR headset and was the Lich King from Warcraft 3 and could Kamehameha in fucking...
yes.
That was cool. That was awesome.
First time I got to fly around and then basically just Kamehameha dragging straight into the fucking ground. So there's things that I could describe it as, but we'll not do so. Just
did they ever have I-beams? Did they ever have I-beams?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, I even breathe flames.
That's cool as well. Like that's one of the problems I've had with it, and my brother is obviously on the other side of this.
Two of the coolest spells by far that I used was there is a Death Knight spell pack. It is the Icy Grave move, and it basically just is like, it's the way you want Blizzard to be, where it rains down giant, massive icicle spikes that just stick into the ground.
It's what Bolvar throws at Sylvanas.
Yes, the Bitch King.
Yeah, the Bitch King. They did him dirty.
And then I would say the Astral spell pack, where you pull a star down onto the ground.
That's awesome.
Dude, okay, so the way I describe that one is,
is this supposed to be for druids?
Warfare. Do you remember old Modern Warfare? The first time they made
Hell yeah.
Warfare 2?
Hell yeah. It was great.
You remember when you get in the AC-130?
Oh, yes.
That minute goes, yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's basically what happened. The spell out, the magic circle went around, then it went back in. It was dead quiet for 2 seconds, and then you just hear the sounds of a screaming star coming, just crash and throws everything around.
That's fantastic.
If you're in the black.
I was excited. Does it hurt the player? So here's the question. Is that rooted in, like, is it just supposed to be like a cool spell set, or is that supposed to be like a druid from Warcraft 3 or World of Warcraft?
Are you talking about the Astral spell pack?
Yeah.
No, it was actually the main. A lot of those moves were, one of them was for like a druid pack, but it had nothing to do with World of Warcraft. That's
okay.
Just, that's kind of normal.
It's just like astral magic, kind of.
Astral magic, like they get associated with druids, but it's not a required.
Well, just thinking about like Starfall and Starfire and Moonfire being druid moves. I was going to say, so if you're dropping literal stars on the planet, I think that's actually bad for the planet. So I think that at that point, the druids have jumped the shark. So mods, I didn't like them because a lot of, I'm not against them altogether. You can have some really cool experience. No, it's not that. It's that, like, a lot of the times, like, I remember when I played a long time ago Skyrim and modded it years and years ago, I was like, oh, look, there's a master sword that I can put in the game, and you had to go find it and all that. That was cool. But then you get it, and it's like, okay, now it's better than every other weapon that's possible in this game, because the people that make the mods, and I would imagine that with better mods, they try to balance them. But that was my problem. Is I'm like, a lot of times these just break the game, which for me is not the experience that I want when I'm playing a single player game.
So in that situation, man, like that's why you got to be kind of careful with what you choose to download and what you choose to put on there.
Of course.
A lot of times, like, if it's a good modder, they're going to tell you, like, hey, this one is not for balanced play. Like, it's not meant for, this is for, like, playing around sandbox. And then there are people like, hey, this one is built for, like, a actual run through. Well, there's lore friendly, which means that it doesn't look real out of place. Like, it looks like it would belong there. And then and that's really kind of the coverall term. But
yeah, I got you.
And then there's balanced. Like, if it was marked balanced, that means it was like, it was not considered overpowered. Like,
see, if I could filter out mods that when I get ready to play, that were like that.
Days.
Yeah, that would be an experience that I would try to mod, because although it's funny, because as I'm getting older, some
does a really good job of it. Like, they filter out a lot of the crap.
Games that are super long, I'm honestly getting to the point nowadays where it's like, well, if I want to play the story, I saw somebody the other day who was like, yeah, I just play games on easiest because I just want to see the story. And that's not me, because I like there to be a challenge, but I don't want to, like, nowadays, there's like X amount of time for most games where it's like, okay, if I don't beat it before this amount of time, I will just get bored. And it's not even like I make it that way or choose for it to be that way. It's like eventually, like, I loved Red Dead Redemption 2, but it got to a certain point where I was like, okay, I want to see the end, and I didn't care anymore at all. I stopped doing side stuff, and I just was like, my God, this is taking too long. Still a great game, but too long. Like,
when I had beaten the game and I was running around, I had already had the UFO encounter and seen the ghost train. And I'd also had there's what's it called? There's a few times when when Arthur,
yeah.
Yeah, when Arthur would just have, like, you're like, what was that? And he, like, fall over or something. Like, if that happens to you enough time, it does attack you after a while. Like, I'm gonna shit myself. I'll leave that to the community.
It's like when you were playing the first one and you'd be running and the fucking cougars would just kill you out of nowhere. Like,
first encounter for me was in the swamp.
There's a clip I've got somewhere. I think it's on my Xbox, obviously, because I played it on Xbox, and I'll find it. But it's me when I was first playing the game. It's like in the first couple of days of playing the game and just riding around on the horse. I was hunting something. I was having a lot of fun hunting things from horseback. And I just drove the horse straight into a pole.
Oh, yeah. Horse crashing, yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. It's like our dad. Our dad a long time ago was driving. He had something that was affecting his brain at this point. So it's like arguably that could have been it, but it also could just have been dad. And the way he responded to it was absolutely all dad. He like drove in a parking lot that he had been in thousands of times. And he was always writing, like, and you'd be in the road, in the car with him going on the highway at 90 miles an hour, and he'd be writing on his knee on a notepad, like steering with his other knee, phone in his hand on the other hand, or you
eating
remember
a sandwich with one, holding the phone on the
eating, or he'd just say, hey, grab the wheel to a 10-year-old, like with one hand, and like.
So you're just sitting there holding on for dear life. Like,
you get used to it eventually, but like, no, he was in the parking lot and he ran into a pole that was in the parking lot and he swore that pole didn't used to be there. It's like, Jesus Christ, Dad.
Like, it always been there for long.
That's how much he could not admit. Like, yeah, I fucked up. Like,
I could just never be wrong.
Yeah, man.
I know this is you saying that, but still.
Yeah. Well, we are his sons, but still, like,
I'm always right, but I'm never wrong.
I say that a lot too. I used to say that a lot. I always thought that was a great saying. And supposedly, and I think we thought about this on one of the podcasts, but I think that came from, I heard originally from our our grandmother on our mom's side, who was dead before either of us existed, but she was a legend in her own right. I was just saying, like, when they give you single player stuff, like as a pre-order bonus or like a mod or something like that, it's like
aesthetic stuff.
yeah, well, yeah, aesthetics are one thing. I just mean like
boosting crap.
The meta doesn't matter so much in a single player game because it's single player. You do whatever you want to in that playthrough, right? Like,
I said, yeah, if you're talking single player, then yeah, boosting's fine there, I guess. But
you're just taking away from yourself at that point.
Yeah,
right?
I say, yeah, that's on you because you always have the option of using it or not using it.
But
yeah.
In this case, which is not a single player experience solely, but it's PVE, it's player versus environment. So it's not player versus player competitive. But this is what I want to ask you now. You see gatekeeping in certain things like gear score or BIS, like best in slot in things like World of Warcraft. It's like, hey, you can't come to this raid or this dungeon if you're not ready to do it, basically. Or back in the day when we played Destiny, there were people that would not do certain content with you if you didn't have the weapons like Gallarhorn or Icebreaker, if you remember the rocket launcher and the
yeah, Gallarhorn, and we had great value version, which was the Hunger of Crota,
which was awesome in its own right for a whole nother reason. And I have a clip of that as well.
Isaac cheesed the crap out of Crota.
Dude, everyone cheesed that.
Dude, I didn't need the Hunger of Crota because I had Gallarhorn, and I had Thorn, and I had the last word.
Thorn was so cool.
I didn't want an Icebreaker. I didn't care. It came out to buy. The
only reason people liked the Icebreaker was because it had infinite ammo.
I know. I just don't care for sniper rifles.
Dude, it was the worst game experience too because you would literally hide and then just pop out, shoot, hide, and do that until it's over.
Dude, it's a point and click.
Well, it's better in PvP anyway, like sniping if you're going to snipe.
Don't even talk about Halo. There's no bullet drop and hardly any travel time.
Well, but you know that. Like, that's the way Halo is. It's the technology of the game.
You use the bitch.
But at least...
You don't want to be in the shit. You don't want to be up there and see how good and who's about it. You want to hide.
I used to fight with one guy, with some people at school about Halo versus Gears. And I'm like, listen, at least in Halo, when you get shot, when you're trying to snipe, it takes you out of the scope. In fucking Gears, you, at least in the first one, you could still snipe people. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like,
it didn't matter because I remember that because you'd be sitting there waylaying on Isaac and your head just popped. Gears was one of the worst of the games about like every head was in the same place. So on every map, you just needed to know what head level was.
Well, what do you mean? Like there's no odd job? Like
exactly, because there's no like when you don't have varying sizes in shooters, it really narrows it down because like eventually there's just head level. Like you just aim in this and you go left and right, stay in that and go left and right. That's it. Like,
well, and like you said, if you imagine it, like you said earlier, just a minute ago, point and click, it's like, if you took it's like literally, how good are you at clicking, getting something in the middle of your screen and clicking? Like, that's the actual mechanic of it, which is
why I say Standoff VR is once again, the better
that was fun as shit.
Because, dude, you're
VR PUBG, if you don't know what he means.
Got the Z-axis in there now, bro. We're out there rolling around in the shit. Like,
Battle Royales and PUBG is fun as shit when you play it in VR.
Yeah, I would say that's the only way I'm playing it. I'm just not a Battle Royale person. It's not me. I do love arena play. Don't get me wrong. But that one's just not for me. I just don't like the concept of running around for 10 minutes to only get maybe caught in the middle of some real bullshit. Like, that just doesn't seem fun to me.
Yeah, no, that's one of the first things I noticed too. Is I'm like, dude, you spend more time loading into those games than you do playing them.
I've never played Fortnite. Never tried it when it came out. Thank God.
You play Apex ever?
I gave Isaac and Juan both three games actually. They only took two, and both games were my exact complaint. Dude, it's just like you go running. They're like, oh yeah, I found this. I was like, this is the same thing I get from World of Warcraft when I'm except this does not matter.
That's the super addictive part about it, I think, for people, dude. It's that dopamine hit from getting, like, what am I going to find in this building?
I was like, this isn't fun to me. I was like, this loot is literally meaningless. It's making me feel like Thomas Wayne Batman. None of it matters.
Well, and that's why Escape from Tarkov was a fun take on that, because you carry that gear with you if you make it out to the next thing, which is also why I discovered the Church of the Hatchet Run, which is amazing because it's just
like, okay, so I get that because Island 359 does the same thing. If you get eaten, whatever's in your backpack, it goes away. You know, and the only thing that stays is what you put in your locker. So
that's a single player experience.
Yeah. By the way, VR people, if you got Island 359 and haven't played it, or if you don't own it and haven't played it, it's a good one. CloudGate's not really doing anything with it anymore, but it's a great experience and it's got a fun arcade mode.
Imagine like Turok. It's like a less like developed because it's indie.
Except you're not going to be dealing with Primogen. You know, it's going to be actual dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
Regular old dinosaurs.
Sargarrett played that game so much back in the day that the developers were working with him a lot. He was also on top of the leaderboard for a long time in one game mode.
I'm gonna be honest, I really don't want to talk about that.
What you have to understand about that is the way that scoring worked, and my brother would always come out and tell. He would come out of his room at the time we were living together. I mentioned this last time when he was talking about Total War. He would come out of his room like in binges of like VR, and he would literally like he got a Camelback, like one of those things that allows you to drink water when you go running or riding your bike, because the way the scoring worked in that Island 359, he was like, dude, I have to stay in as long as I can. Like, and he was in a war with this other guy.
That's how it worked. Like, I was like, okay, I knew how to get a Tyrannosaurus Rex to constantly pop up. I don't know if it was something I wasn't supposed to be doing.
And he would come out with like new metas. He'd be like, dude, I realized that I could do the best with the bow and arrow because I can always go pick it up.
It had to like it would go even off the places where it hadn't rendered. The game.
It was a saga because I would get this information from him every like 2 days. He'd come out of his room. I'd be like, oh, I haven't seen you. He'd be like, dude, I got a new strategy. Like, the game is evolving.
That's the kind of thing I'm upset with. Like a lot of VR games, studios will just drop them out of nowhere. Like, because Island 359 it's an abandoned project.
Because there's not a market for that stuff yet.
Don't get me wrong. I still go in and play it every once in a while.
Because you were a perfect example of that. It's like it was for the people that loved it, really loved it.
My screen name, so like it's up there as what it was the old name, but it's not my name anymore.
The people that loved those games really loved them, but there weren't enough of them for there to be more development there.
No, and dude, that was another thing I like about Steam. It's like if you put in if you reported something, like a lot of times you get hits back, and especially if you were like being pretty specific, like
that game isn't for casuals, bro.
Yeah, I guess not.
And the funny thing about it is, like, you could say that's degeneracy. The difference was the degeneracy that he was doing in Island 359 required him to be, if you've ever played VR before, you know that you get tired, you get sweaty, and you're crouched a lot, and like, just go play some VR.
I put us in a specific spot, and I marked it with my chaperone. And it was basically I would
hear him punching the walls and hitting the fan every once in a while. I'd be like, oh, yep, Garrett hit the wall again.
Sometimes you turn the corner and you got a Triceratops just like straight barreling down for you. I'm sorry, he's massive. It's not an easy thing to take in when he's that close.
It takes getting used to. It really does.
Yeah, you do get after a while you will get desensitized. Like. You'll be like, oh yeah, I've been eaten, shot, burned, stabbed, crushed, maimed, drowned. Let's see, what else?
Just wait till it's full haptic.
Locked in an infinite number of puzzle dimensions. Form is really messed up. You should play Form.
You end up like Squidward in that one episode of where he say the time machine breaks and he's like alone.
I'll tell you this: the most when you were young, when you're a kid, and when you really sit there and imagine what it would be like to be a lot of the things, like what would it be like to be like a Z fighter, what it would be like to be Link, you're going through that stuff, playing things like VR Dungeon Night and going through all that, man, you get all those feels again. And it's like I was like, oh yeah, I'm keeping a promise to.
It brings imagination back into the games. They're incredibly immersive.
It rebreathes the life in it too that you just haven't felt in.
Some of our friends who are grown ass men, and you know who you are, would not put on his headset.
Know who you are.
They wouldn't touch it. We would literally be like, hey, just try it. And they're like, nope, I'm not doing that. It's like,
bitches.
Live. Allow yourself to experience.
You're real for real. I'm saying, like, if you're looking for some real entertainment in your life, and you're looking and you got some shekels to shell.
I'm about to say it's not cheap.
Well, it's getting there. It's getting more affordable.
And it's not for casuals.
Don't go the Facebook route. Don't. They're gonna require.
Hey, I've told you before though, man. Like you should be happy about that.
It's not gonna catch on.
But that's how, not metaverses, no. But like that's a whole nother thing. Like at least the Web3
is not gonna work, dude.
Well, hey, the whole like advent of the crypto stuff not working out so well recently, I think will lend to that. I think it's definitely like, it's almost like a cult. Like, but
they knew crypto wasn't gonna work out. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not hard to really put together.
You would think, but there's a lot of suckers out there, unfortunately.
Seem like the biggest. So let me get this straight. I buy this thing. It seems like an NFT with no picture. That's just how I pictured it.
I thought of this a long time ago, and I told you this, and I told Noel Mutex about it.
Stupid too. You shouldn't be doing that either.
That stuff works on the same way that the Warhammer 40k orcs collective psychic power does. If enough of them believe it, then it becomes true. And that's the only way cryptocurrencies and NFTs a lot of the times become valuable.
Until you introduce the solution and education.
That's our only hope. So God help us.
Yep. And I say that, and dude, honestly, I could do with some more education.
Everybody could, but dude, like then you go to get educated, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is why.
Never stop learning. Go get educated. This video is sponsored to you by nobody because we don't do that.
This video brought to you by the letter A.
What does it stand for?
A is for ass.
Indeed.
If you're in 2022 and you're not eating ass, what are you doing with your life?
I'm gonna be honest. Not eating ass in 2022. I think you're doing pretty good in life. Ass doesn't seem like something you want to eat.
That's exact opposite of what I was saying. Well, ass. It's what's for dinner. There we go.
Well, I've been drinking Code Red, which most people would say, "Oh, that tastes like ass." I'd be
there
like,
you go. Ass. You can drink it now.
You can drink it
if you thirsty.
I really wish I could find out what the fuck happened to my goddamn TV remote. I would have looked up that shit we were talking about earlier.
Hey, if you want to know what we were talking about earlier, you can watch it on YouTube, King of the World Chat. You can hear it on all the places, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. Give it a 5-star review. That helps us. Like the video. Make a comment. You can check me out on YouTube at Hypemoore TV. Or no, it's just Hypemoore now. And it's coming soon.
Right now.
What's that?
So this is the only place you're going to see me for right now. I'm working
coming soon. Sargarrett. And occasionally.
It's going to be a minute.
You could catch me on Twitch.
Sargarrett's got a day job.
Not very often lately. The next episode, Mondays, King of the World Chat, where the topics are made up.
That was my fidget spinner. Sorry.
You were supposed to say, and the points don't matter.
Once again, you're talking about points. Like, we didn't award any points this show.
We made some points.
For noticing, no points awarded.
We made some points.
None of them mattered, though.
Yeah, but you can't stab anything if you don't have points.
Okay, yeah, but fine. But why? Like, sometimes Lee, I feel like we're stabbing our own boat. We should
less stabbing. We'll shoot for less stabbing next time.
What's next time? Oh, are we done or something?
Next time on Dragon Balls on King of the World Chat.
Oh, God damn it. I hope we don't hit each other too hard.
We have no idea what next time will be because we haven't worked that out yet. We didn't even work out this time.
It'll be Monday and Tuesday's thing.
It will be on Monday, though.
Yep. Well, we start working on it Monday, the next episode. But we upload it on Monday.
Takes a lot of work.
It does. Because we want to take the time because we know Mondays suck. I mean, come on. It's the start of the work week.
Wake up with the king of the world chat.
Or don't.
Or don't. Don't wake up. Wake up with the king or don't wake up.
My 30s are dirty, okay? Like,
exactly. Because you shit yourself. Get the raid diaper.
No, I have the decency to get up from the desk and go to my toilet.
If on the path you were on with 359, I wouldn't have put it past you to be like, you know what? I'm using diapers now.
There was no way for me to get to the bathroom with the headset on. It was attempted. But once again, I'm just not going to shit in my room. There's too much margin for error there. I won't even piss in a bottle in my room. Okay, I did that. I did do that once. That
Here
did
you
get
go.
done.
You heard it here first.
I was tanking.
If you listen to Preach's Drama Time, you'll hear that a lot of people took tanking and spanking to another level.
You're kidding me.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. I knew one of my buddies cranked it when we were doing.
Dude, that's why they did that in Make Love Not Warcraft, like the with Clyde.
You know who you are.
Don't be Clyde.
Know who you are.
And if you are going to be Clyde, have the decency to mute your mic first.
Well, then before, I guess we should say a thing.
What thing?
Be good or be good at it.
That's my thing.
Well, it's mine now.
There you go. My influence is spreading already, like a disease.